Hello you plonkers and welcome back today to another video on the Drewzy channel. It's 9 things we learnt from round 15. Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time of the week again. And it's that time of year that I go around the sun again, and it's my birthday on Tuesday. And I was thinking, what can the people that watch my videos give me for my birthday? Had a big think and I thought, well, I still haven't hit my bloody sub goal for this month, which was 7.5k by the end of June. We're getting very, very close. So if you aren't subscribed, give me a nice birthday present and just hit that red button. It's absolutely free. And make sure you like my videos as well to support me in the YouTube algorithm. Enough of the beg. Let's get into the 9 things that we learned from round 15. Number 1. Melbourne turned on demon mode. After the first quarter, this game was absolutely brutal. The D's allowed Brisbane no time on the ball at all. Like, they just didn't have any time to look up, compose themselves, and just take the sting out of the game. The sting was in the whole time, and Brisbane were absolutely copying it. It was a relentless, vicious effort from the D's, and every time that there was a contest, they just put a body on, just leave a bit of body on the Brisbane players, and they would have left that game feeling sore. They ended up getting pumped in the end, which I didn't really see coming, to be honest, but it all just stemmed from the physicality that the Demons brought. After losing 3 in a row, no one really knew where the D's were at, but they bounced back this week and just showed how scary they are. It was a terrifying, demonic performance from the Melbourne Demons, and they're definitely premiership favourites again after that one. Rats! Number 2. Hawthorns' inconsistency cost them 4 points. Again. They kicked 4 goals in the first quarter, 1 goal in the second, no goals in the third quarter, and then 7 in the last quarter. Like, this Hawthorn side is so inconsistent. They can't put a 4-quarter effort together most weeks, but we've seen that their style stacks up when they switch it on. Like, they can compete with the best sides when they can bring their brand that they want to play, like literally in the first and fourth quarter of this game. But they'll just go to sleep for a couple of quarters, and it costs them. And it's not like they just flicked it off. Obviously, the Bulldogs played well in those middle 2 quarters, got on top of the contested ball and started winning the clearances and whatnot. But Hawthorn, they have a pretty experienced midfield in there. They shouldn't just be rolling over and be getting pantsed at all, I don't think. So, I don't know, Hawthorn, it's a bit of a frustrating one. Young side, but still, you shouldn't just be going to sleep at parts of games. It just baffles me, to be honest. And there were so many good performances on the field as well, in particular Mitch Lewis. So, it just doesn't make sense to me. Hawthorn are a confusing side. Number 3. Yellow Crab beats Red Crab in crab fight. The defensive quality in this game was just non-existent. I've watched the second half of this, and like Peter Wright's just wide open inside 50. How is a key forward just wide open inside 50? After such a slow build-up as well, Nick Martin found himself wide open. Like, West Coast would just go end to end, and then there'd just be a player spare. There was just like no shape. The ball movement was so slow and clunky and just so average. It was a fun game to watch because there was just goals going in left, right, and centre. I'm not happy that West Coast won. I forgot how much I hated West Coast winning. The quality of these two sides is just awful. Essendon are in the pits. I don't know how you can defend their coach anymore with the quality that they have, because they're obviously trying to buy in. It's not like they're just not competitive. They were in this game till the end, but their method is just not there, and West Coast are right there with them. Number 4. Walsh and Cripps is the modern Judd and Cousins. So, Carlton beat Freo. Yep. That's alright. Just another football game. That's all it is. You know, I actually don't mind Carlton. So, it's alright. No, honestly, I'm dead inside after that loss. The game was won in the midfield, clearly. Well, I just thought that Brayshaw, Sarong, Fife, Brodie, Mundy would be able to hold their own and sort of, you know, at least break even in clearances and contested balls. But it just wasn't the case. Sam Walsh, I think, will be one of the best players in the competition one day. 100% will be a Brownlow medal winner. I think him and Bailey Smith have the most potential in the AFL right now. You don't really notice how good a player is, I feel, until you see them play against your side and how damaging they are. Sam Walsh, every time, was the first out of the stoppage, and he was just making waves of attack happen for the Blues. And it just gave Brayshaw and Sarong a lesson. Like, this is how hard you need to work. They do work hard, but Walsh is just a whole different animal. And then you've got Paddy Cripps in there, who's been doing it for years now. But just his strength and his balance, like, he just bitched Brayshaw off the ball so many times. Just ran into him, kept his feet, won the ball. I was too young to watch Judd and Ben Cousins and actually remember it. But from what I've heard, Cousins' running power is much like Sam Walsh's. And Paddy Cripps is just a very strong-bodied fella, wins the contested ball, very balanced and uses the ball well. So yeah, the game was won in the midfield, and Walsh and Cripps are pretty much an unstoppable force when they get going. De Koning as well in the ruck outplayed Sean Darcy. So that's where the game was won. I'm done with talking about it. Next. Before we get on to the next thing we learnt, I'd like to thank today's sponsor of the video, Manscaped. You've heard me talking about Manscaped recently as they sponsor the Drewzy channel, so make sure you do yourself a favour, lads, and go check out their good products using the link in the description. The Lawnmower 4.0, which I'm always raving on about, is the #1 electric shaver on the market. The way it's designed with its ceramic blade, LED light technology, makes it such an easy job below the belt. Got different clipper lengths as well, so you don't have to do the all or nothing job. You can shape it to a different millimeter length depending on your requirements. There's liquid formulations like ball deodorants and anti-chafing creams to reduce that post-shave itch. There's a lot of stuff on the Manscaped website, and if you use code Drewzy20 at checkout, you get free worldwide shipping and 20% off your order. If you don't have any equipment to sort out below the belt, couldn't recommend Manscaped enough. Head over using the link in the description. Drewzy20 at checkout, all caps, no spaces, and you will not regret it at all, lads. Thanks to Manscaped for sponsoring today's video, and let's get on with the next thing. Number 5. Geelong turned an easy W into a thriller. Geelong were 36 points up in the second quarter, and obviously this game was sick. Like, to watch as a neutral, it was great. But how can you allow a 36-point margin to turn into being 2 goals down? Like, as a Geelong fan, you would be absolutely fuming that your team allowed a 48-point swing in this game. Obviously, Richmond were going to come back to some extent, but a 48-point swing, how many goals is that? 8 goal swing? Absolutely unreal. And if it wasn't for that great mark from Jack Henry in the last minute or so of the game, it would have been a very big 4 points loss for Geelong. It's going to be remembered as a thriller and a really good game because it was. As a Geelong fan, you'd just be thinking, a 36-point lead that goes to it being 2 goals down. Like, how do you allow that to happen? It shouldn't be happening. It was a good game, but Geelong made it into a good game. It shouldn't have been. Number 6. St Kilda. 2 losses in a row now since after the bye for St Kilda. One against Essendon, who are one of the worst teams in the competition, and now against Sydney as well. Obviously, Sydney are a good side, but if it was 2 losses where you were sort of competitive and you only lost by a couple of goals or whatever, had an injury or something that made the result go the way it ended up going, you wouldn't be too worried. But the nature of these defeats, they've been uncompetitive. Like, I think they kicked 4 goals for the game or something stupid, the Saints. Like, literally might as well have stayed home and forfeited. Again, against Essendon last week, it was just diabolical in parts in that game. And it's just like, where have the Saints gone from earlier in the season where they were looking real dangerous? They were looking like a top 4 side. Like, that is just so worrying. If you're a St Kilda fan, you would be pulling your hair out right now. I know Cardi is. What has happened to the Saints? Let me know down in the comments below because I do not have a clue. All I know is it's looking very dicey. How can you go from being a top 4 contender to now being outside of the top 8 at the click of a finger? Number 7. There's something wrong with North's forward line. Today against the Crows, North had the same amount of contested possessions and only 4 less clearances. So that shows me that they're winning the ball around the contest to gain territory. They did have like 13 less inside 50s, so obviously Adelaide found a way to get the ball into their inside 50 more. But North Melbourne had ample opportunity to move the ball up the ground towards their attacking end. And it just seems that, like, if Nick Larkey doesn't kick a bag, there's just no chance of North Melbourne winning. But you look at the players that they have down there. Jaden Stevenson, a rising star. Cam Zerhardt, we know how good he is. And Taron Thomas, well, I don't think he's a forward. I think he needs to be played in the midfield because he had his best games last year sort of on the wing or as an inside bid. So maybe that's a problem there. And then they put Ben Mackay in there today. I think they just thought, well, your brother's kicking goals, so why don't you go in there? But for whatever reason, I don't know if it's the forward craft or the personnel or the chemistry that's in there, but it's just not working, and it hasn't been working all season. They're way too reliant on Nick Larkey. He's an absolute gun, but he can't carry a whole forward line. The blokes around him need a lift, and I don't know why they cannot. Number 8, give Collingwood some respect. For whatever reason, just everyone hates on Collingwood. I suppose the rivalries within Victoria and the fan bases and whatnot, but as a neutral, like, I don't have any hatred towards Collingwood. So when I see them playing well, I'm like, yeah, they're a good side. Like, no bias. My vision isn't blurred when I'm watching them. They've won 7 out of their last 10 now. I think they've won their last 5, if I'm not mistaken, as well, against very good opposition. Today they only won by 11 points, but I think they had about 33 scoring shots to 17. I've been big on them all year, and I'm still to see a weakness in this Collingwood side. Like, even if they sort of don't move the ball cleanly, they play very similar to that Richmond style, just the knock-on, gain territory style, crash and bash, get the ball forward and end up kicking a snag at the end of it. Their role players are contributing every week, which is always a good sign. Like, I don't see a flaw right now with Collingwood, so I don't know why people don't rate them. They're definitely going to finish in the top 8, I believe, and whoever they face in the finals will have a hard time coming up against them because their backline's really solid. They've got contested balls in the middle of the park and experienced veterans with finals experience, and then they've got young flair all across the ground as well. So Collingwood are going to be an issue in years to come, and I don't know why people don't rate them. And number 9, Gold Coast was so unlucky. It was a neck-and-neck battle all game long. It was such a good game to watch, and I thought Gold Coast would just punch through at some point and end up winning the game. Port Adelaide ended up winning by 2 points at the end, but there was 2 moments in this game, both from Marbia Chol, which could have turned the outcome of the game on its head, could have given Gold Coast the win. So he had 2 shots on goal, which both went through the 2 big sticks, both got score reviewed and just skimmed across the goalpost. Like, it wasn't like it hit it and then deviated. It was literally just a little sort of vibe. Gold Coast lost this game by 2 points. There was a lot going on at the end of the game where I think they probably could have got a free kick as well. But the game was decided by 2 points and 5 centimetres on the goalpost. Very unlucky for the Gold Coast Suns. This was a massive game. They needed to win this if they were going to be sort of any shot for the top 8. I think they still could potentially, but this just would have boosted them right up. So it was a big win for Port Adelaide, who face Freo next week. Let's be having your Port Adelaide. Gold Coast got unlucky, but we'll avenge you next week, Gold Coast. Don't you worry. Freo will pants those Port Adelaide boys because we need to bounce back. And that's going to wrap up 9 things we learnt from round 15. But before you go, make sure you subscribe for my birthday present. Make sure you like for my birthday present. And make sure you comment down below for my birthday present. I'm turning 21. My arthritis in my knee is getting real bad. So I need some support right now. But I appreciate everyone who watched the video. Keep an eye out on the channel for more videos soon. Take care. You plonkers.